Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Guitar Detective with John Mayer's crime scene he laid out for us. Today we're going to be studying the song Moving On and Getting Over, and the reason that I chose this song is two reasons. Number one is I have a student who brought it to the table last week and said, what is John Mayer doing here? And my initial idea of what was happening wasn't what was happening. And it all makes sense, but it was just my initial idea, so I had to study it and I went, oh, this is so cool. And number two is I got a lot of requests to do an In the Mind of John Mayer. And to be very honest, I feel like John Mayer, he does a lot of great stuff. He's a great guitar player, but he does most of the stuff I talk about in my Blues Primer playlist, so go check that out. And I'm not underrating him, he just does it really, really well. But this song in particular stood out. This song, he was doing something different. So I said, okay, this is what I want to bring to the table. So let's just talk about it really quickly. When I look at a song, and if you look at the song, the chords are F sharp minor 7 to a B. That's the whole jam section. I made a loop of it. It goes a little like this. You can play F sharp minor 7 here to a B. However you want to do it. Okay? That's the jam section. I'm referring to, by the way, the one that my student brought to the table was John's performance at the iHeartRadio concert. So if you look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's him. It's just him. He's got a digital little playground he plays with, and he takes a good solo. And it's that solo that I'm kind of looking at in the approach. So now we have this F sharp minor 7 to a B chord, and the first thing I do for any song is I always look at the chords, like what key are we in, what chords we're having. So if I lay the chords out for you, if I show you F sharp to B, right? F sharp minor 7, excuse me, to B. Okay, well, what could that be? Well, when I look at it, it looks like a very, very common 2 to 5 progression. All right, very common. You've seen that a lot. Like in jazz, you have 2-5-1s. In rock and blues, you might get the 2-5. There are two other songs that come to mind right away, and there's many, many more. But the first one is Oye Como Va. That's a 2-1 in it's in G, but it goes A to D. A minor 7 to D, and then another song that I know very well, which is You Enjoy Myself by Fish. The jam section is G minor 7 to a C chord, or C9, but it's still C. It's still a 2 to a 5. And in both these instances, they use either the Dorian of the starting point, I'll talk about all this for you, or a minor pentatonic, and that's usually what they do. So when I heard of an F sharp minor 7 to a B, the first thing I did was played an F sharp minor pentatonic, and I'm going to turn my distortion, and I'll show you. Ooh, I got a little fuzz. It sounds okay, but it didn't sound like what John Mayer is doing, right? And by the way, how could I forget? This is also a song, a jam section to Mike's Song by Fish. Okay, so that's the exact progression, 2 to 5, F sharp minor to B. But that F sharp minor pentatonic or F sharp Dorian, it's not what John was doing. He's doing something that sounds a lot brighter, a lot happier, bluesy in style, and so I had to really analyze what's happening. So let us analyze, okay? All right, so F sharp minor 7 to B. 2 to 5. Okay, so in what key is that? So let's lay the chords out here. Boom. We are in the key of E, all right? In the key of E, you have E, E, F sharp, I'm not feeling well. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. They're right here, okay? Right here somewhere. And the one chord is played as major. The 2 chord, you can see it, F sharp minor. F sharp is played as a minor chord or a minor 7th. And the 5 chord is played as a major or a 7th chord. And so you can see those guys working together right there. F sharp minor 7 to the B. And so, okay, now if the F sharp minor pentatonic isn't working, how about the key scale? How about just the key of E, the E scale itself? So I'll turn the distortion off because so you can hear it clean. I'm just going to play an E major scale on top of this progression now. Everything should kind of lock in and sound okay. Sorry. My doorbell rang. I got my package of oranges. Yay. All right, here we go. 12, 9, 11, 12, 9, 11. All the conspiracy theorists are going to be out there. 8, 9, 11, 9, 10, 12, 9, 11, 12. Okay? And so if I hit that looper and I'm right in the key of E, everything should sound okay. Let's see what it sounds like. well, we're locked in. We have the key. Still doesn't sound like John Mayer. So what does he do? Well, he does something great. He takes the key scale, the E major scale, and you can pick any E major scale you want, and he turns it strictly into a pentatonic, and he plays the E major pentatonic. Now, I know some of you might be going, well, yeah, of course you can play an E major pentatonic. There's a lot of like theory that leads you there in terms of the blues and stuff, but I'm showing you what he does, is he takes the E major scale, volume, and he just plays the pentatonic. So in this case, it'd be 12th fret or 9th fret for the low note, 9, form 1, 9, 12, 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, 11, 9, 12, 9, 12. That's it. And now we get that bluesy sound. The pentatonic offers the bluesy sound. You'll hear him do this thing. Do the air clapping moves and stuff. So now if I shed the key scale down to the E major pentatonic, let's see what happens. Now it's like, yeah. Now it's like, yes, we're close. We're getting really close. But at the same time, there's some color happening here. There is some movements of color, and you can hear them. And so what does that mean? Well, he brings back in the full major scale, but he does it when he ties together these connections of phrases from the pentatonic, and then he kind of like leads with a diatonic or a full major scale thing back into a pentatonic. Let me explain. All right, so we have this pentatonic, the full diatonic. Really, he kind of really uses this guy a lot, and I'll talk about that, all right, in a couple seconds, but he'll finish a phrase in a pentatonic, like, and then before he goes to another riff, climbs down the major scale to someplace else. Let's see if we can kind of nail that, like. So you kind of saw it happen. I played some pentatonic phrases, and then I put in some major scale work. So now let's kind of expand this idea, and of course, grab your guitars and pause this video and play with me or play with a jam track, but let's just kind of like get a little deeper into this, because it's really cool. Alright, so you see him play on this video, definitely plays his form 1. He definitely gets up in the form 2, which would be, he really just plays the Albert King box, 13th fret in the G, 12, 14, 12, 14. And he sometimes sneaks up here. You know, I'll make a chart for everyone. If you want a chart, I'll make this out. And if you want to support Stitch Method, it's up to you. If you want the chart, the visuals, here we go. So now, watch how I'm going to play a little bit up here, maybe get up to my form 2. And when I want to transition between the boxes, I'll bring in this. You can also do this here. That same note. 14th fret of the G. This is an A, by the way, an A note. And we're going to talk about that A note in a little bit, okay? Alright, so now, watch for a form 1, watch for this little form 2 Albert box, and watch for my little diatonic like lines that go in and out of these things. So now, let's just pause for a second, take a breath. What just happened? Well, we have an F sharp minor 7 to a B, clearly a 2-5 progression, and in the key of E. The first choice that I'm always like, that I've been like magnetized for is, well, let's put the minor pentatonic of the F sharp, let's put the first chord's minor pentatonic on top of that, maybe even the Dorian scale on top of that. And you can watch other videos on Stitch Method about that, I don't want to get too heavy, but that didn't work. So I had to sit and look at this crime scene and act as the guitar detective with my pipe. Where's my pipe? Somewhere over here. And, you know, and look at every little piece of the puzzle and realized, well, it does make sense. It makes total sense. We took the key of E, which is what it was in, and we didn't use the full E scale. We shed it down to its pentatonic, and we used that E major pentatonic, and we used some diatonic or full scale maneuvers to kind of sew these pieces together. Now, we're not done yet. I want to show you a couple things here. Number 2, I guess, the second topic of debate is, well, if you look at the F sharp minor pentatonic, just quickly, if you look at it, up on this 9th fret, where the form 1 is. Now we're just kind of getting into, like, what ifs, all right? We have this form 1 pentatonic for E, but look at where the F sharp minor would be. It'd be right here on the 9th fret and be a form 4. And if you look at the difference, it's 9, 12, 9, 12, 9, 11, 9, 11, 10, 12, 9, 12. The only note that has changed is this one here, from this one in the form 1. It would have been, instead of the form 4, it's, and this guy here, which changed from the form 1 here to, now it's clear as day that John is definitely in the E major mindset. But that one note that's different is the A note, from the G sharp to the A. And this A note, just going to show you, is the minor third of the F sharp minor. And when you hit this, this is what makes it growl. This is what makes it kind of like dirty, like the other songs I mentioned. And the idea is John stays away from that note. He only puts this note in when in these transitions a little bit. He might throw it in once in a while. I notice that he does a riff off this guy, which this is the A here, the same as, but it's such a split second, like you're talking like 0.01% of the solo versus the E major outlook. And so the idea is you can put this note in the transitions, and if you're daring enough, you can kind of break into that form 4 for a split second, right? And see if you can get a little bit of like a minor pop. Let's try that out. Look for when I play this guy here. This is an A, okay? Let's see if you can hear and feel the difference. Did you hear it? You kind of heard it. And as soon as I did it, it's like, whoa, it really brings out that minor sound, so we don't really hit it a lot. All right, so now, next thing I'll show you. Again, I should have a chart for this. It's kind of fun. If you're interested in how he kind of phrases and stuff, first of all, John Mayer is an excellent, excellent guitar player. And he really knows how to, like, hum along and play and create these lines that are very musical. It's what he does, okay? And so, the idea here is, well, how do you kind of get the phrasing that's close to him? And I'm not saying I'm anywhere near him. I mean, he's a great, great guitar player. I have all my influences. I'm just kind of breaking this down. Well, the idea is, if you can see your chord tones, it's going to help guide you. Eventually, you'll probably forget about where those chord tones are, but it'll help guide you. So remember, your F sharp minor 7 is here in your form 1 pentatonic. And your B chord is actually the D-shaped chord, the full D-shaped cage chord that I show you on my channel. I'll link it below if you don't know about the cage chord system. They're your chord tones here, like, and if you can hunt any one of those down inside of a pentatonic, this guy and this guy are there. And so listen to how I'm going to stay away from that minor third, by the way, in the F sharp, but I'm going to use this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy, and for the F sharp minor. And I'm going to use one of these guys for my B. And you can kind of just, when the chord change hits, try and find those notes. There it was. So F sharp, B, F sharp, the B. Watch, listen. If you can picture any one of those, don't worry about whether it's a 1, a 3, or a 5. Just visualize them. Start bringing the chords to your playing. You can do the same thing up here. It's a little bit harder. I'll have a chart for you. The B chord is kind of easy. It's this C shape here. Okay, I'm doing form 1, form 2. Okay, pentatonics. And you have these notes. The idea is this guy and this guy are in that pentatonic. This guy, not so much, so he doesn't really hit it a lot. He sticks to his pentatonics. And then the F sharp minor 7 This is the hard one. You can picture the root. Okay, I'm going to put this on the chart. The idea is you have an F sharp here on the 14th fret, and you have a 12 here. These guys, even this. So I'll show it to you, okay? And again, I'll have a chart showing these chords. You have the 1 here, you have the flat 3 here, okay, on the 14th fret. You have the 5 and the 14th fret of the B. You have the F sharp, the root, and you have a flat 7. And any one of these notes. Okay, so now, I'm going to play up here in the form 2 and focus on the F sharp minor 7th chord tones if I can. Just one when the chord change hits. Play some pentatonic stuff. When the next chord change comes, just going to try and hit one of those B chord tones. Let's see if we can do it. This is a long video, isn't it? All right, so hold on. Okay, so let's back up, right? Key of E, E major pentatonic, staying away from a minor third, the F sharp. John, if you're watching this, kudos, man. It sounds really, really good. And I'm glad you did this because it sounds unique on top of this chord progression. And then, like I said, if you want to practice hunting down those chord tones, do it. Just hit it on the chord change so that you kind of emphasize what's happening and stick that E major pentatonic. Also, when you change pentatonic positions, use a little bit of the diatonic scale to kind of tell your story as you move so it doesn't sound like too choppy. And then he does one last thing, which I'll talk about, and we'll end this episode of Guitar Detective. He does one thing in this performance, and it's just so cool, which is he goes from the E major pentatonic, he does a flash of the E minor, brings in this strong blues flavor, which, to be honest, I've never seen that done before in this context, playing an F sharp minor 7 to a B. I understand totally E major, key of E major scale, the E major pentatonic, but then switching over and getting this E minor blues thing with this kind of Hendrix ending and then going right back to the major. I'll show you how to do it, by the way. It's delicious. It's a delicious feast, okay? So really quickly, he just snaps over to the E minor pentatonic, puts in the major third, blues trick number 1 on my channel. He comes down, kind of does this Hendrix thing, ends kind of on this major third here, and then snaps back right back into the major. Let's see if we can get a flare of that. There it was. It wouldn't be a mess up if it wasn't on stitch method, right? And that was it. That was everything. That was E major pentatonic. There was movement through the E major diatonic. There were some chord tones in there. There was moving diatonics. There was the E minor flare for a split second. Go. And practice this stuff. Get down your F sharp minor 7 to the B. Listen to the song. Listen to the rhythm of the track. And have fun with this. So the idea here is, it makes sense. I totally have seen this stuff before, but I think the way that John Mayer executes it on this is just really beautiful. I mean, hands off to him, right? It's great. So, in a Dorian type progression, 2-to-5 progression, what we learned here is we can use the key pentatonic and really kind of let loose with it and have fun. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments. I'll address them in my next live feed, so you can see me talk about it. And if you like this stuff, please share and please subscribe, because that's what I guess it's all about, is sharing all this good stuff. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Rock and roll. See you soon. Bye-bye.